My stepsister stole my husband and my life. Now she wants my blessing for her wedding. I gave her something else instead. You ever meet someone and instantly feel the tension behind their smile? That was Savannah. My stepsister, technically. But in spirit, a lifelong leech with designer bags and empty ambitions. We weren't blood, but she might as well have been my shadow, one that grew darker the more I shined. She moved into my house when we were 15. Her mom married my dad. And suddenly, Savannah went from eating frozen corn dogs in a trailer park to sitting at my family's granite kitchen island in stolen lip gloss and my old Abercrombie sweaters. From day one, she copied everything. My clothes, she borrowed them. My handwriting, she practiced it. In a notebook. I caught her once. Even the way I curled my hair, down to the side part and specific barrel size, she studied me like I was an identity she hadn't earned but planned to steal. You're just so lucky, she used to say, watching me in the mirror. Not, you're hardworking. Not, you deserve this. Just lucky. Like life handed me things while she got scraps. Fast forward a decade. I was 32, married to a man I actually liked, and finally living the life I used to manifest on Pinterest boards. Mark wasn't perfect, but he was loyal, or so I thought. He remembered how I took my coffee. He texted me when I was stressed. He kissed my forehead without needing a reason. We weren't flashy, but we were solid, and in today's world, solid is gold. Savannah? Still floating, from one half-assed job to another, living with our parents temporarily for 6 years. Always trying something new, a yoga certification, a YouTube channel, a cake business that flopped after 2 orders, and somehow still acting like I'd lucked into my life, like I'd drawn the winning number at birth and she was just stuck with the leftovers. You know, if I had what you had, I'd be unstoppable. She once said at brunch, eyeing Mark like he was an open bar tab. I laughed it off, because you don't expect your family, even a twisted stepsister, to actually go there. But Savannah? She always went where she wasn't invited. And one day she went too far. The night it happened was normal, boring even. Mark and I had thrown one of our quiet dinner things. Just a few friends, some wine, pasta I spent all afternoon perfecting. Savannah showed up late, like always, in a tight black dress that wasn't quite appropriate for pasta or family. She hugged Mark too long, kissed his cheek like she owned the space between their faces. I noticed, but I didn't speak on it. Why would I? She was family. She was desperate. She was always a little off, but not dangerous. Right? Wrong. 2 weeks later, I came home early from a work trip. I'd wrapped a client pitch sooner than expected and thought it'd be cute to surprise Mark. I stopped for croissants from his favorite bakery. I had a smile on my face and a stupid warm feeling in my chest, until I opened the front door and heard music. Soft, slow, intimate music. Something we didn't play unless it was our night. My heart didn't break right away. It tried to reason. Maybe he missed me. Maybe he lit candles. Maybe he was planning something sweet. I walked down the hall. He was planning something. All right. I pushed open the bedroom door and there they were. Savannah and Mark, in my bed under my sheets, wrapped up in each other like I'd never existed. Time didn't slow down. It didn't speed up either. It just stopped. Savannah's eyes met mine, and she smiled like she had won. Like this wasn't shameful, but inevitable. Her expression wasn't, "I'm sorry." It was finally. Mark scrambled, tried to cover himself, tried to say something. I don't know, I didn't hear it, because my eyes were locked on hers. And all she said was, "You weren't supposed to be home yet." That was it. No apology, no panic, just a calm acknowledgement, like I'd walked in on a meeting I wasn't invited to. Like she hadn't just burned my entire life to the ground. I didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't throw anything. I turned. Walked down the hall, left the croissants on the kitchen counter, shut the door behind me, got into my car, and drove. No destination, no plan. Just pure, roaring silence in my chest and the first flickers of something stronger than heartbreak. Rage. Because this wasn't some accidental affair. It was a coup. Savannah hadn't just stolen my husband, she'd stolen the life she thought she deserved. And I was done being the passive, pretty protagonist in a story she thought she was the author of. You know that saying about hitting rock bottom? Mine came with marble countertops I paid for and a man I no longer recognized. Mark and I split within a week. Technically, it was mutual. But really, It was me shoving the divorce papers into his hands before I could vomit from the sound of his voice trying to justify sleeping with my stepsister. You've been distant. You're always working. Savannah made me feel wanted. Like I was supposed to nod and say, "Oh, that makes perfect sense. Carry on then." No, I burned it all down. But here's the thing about burning bridges. Sometimes you light your way forward with the fire. The fallout was brutal. Mark stayed in the house because, legally, his name was on it too. And me? I moved into a 2-bedroom rental with carpet that smelled like old ketchup and regret. I lost friends, the fake ones who suddenly had no comment and didn't want to pick sides. You know the type. The ones who text, "Here if you need anything," but vanish when your world actually collapses. Savannah? Oh, she was thriving. Social media full of soft launch. Photos of her and Mark like the world didn't know she was a walking betrayal in designer knockoffs. She even DM'd me a week after I moved out. No hard feelings, right? I hope one day we can be close again. Sisters are forever. I stared at that message for 10 full minutes. No reply, just a block. Here's what I did do. Cut off contact. Started therapy. Hit the gym like it owed me money. Focused on my career like it was war. Because it was. Every time I felt the sting, I poured it into building something better. Something mine. And slowly, it worked. Promotions came. My circle shrank but got solid. I even started laughing again. The real kind, not the fake polite chuckle I used to give when Savannah said something cruel in a sweet voice. But just when I thought I could finally let it all go, she invited me to her wedding. Not just invited. Asked me to be part of it. Bridesmaid, to be specific. Her something borrowed, she said. I know it's weird, but it would mean the world. It'd show everyone we're past the drama. The audacity was Olympic level. She wanted me, the woman she betrayed, to stand beside her in a dress I didn't choose, smiling at the man who used to be mine. I could have said no. But where's the fun in that? So I said yes, to being her bridesmaid, to standing there in blush chiffon with a front row seat to the wedding of the century, the one that started by blowing my life to pieces. People thought I'd lost it. My best friend, Carla, straight asked me if I was suffering from a stress-induced temporary break with reality. You're going to stand next to her, in heels, while she marries your ex-husband? Babe, that's not healing. That's a hostage situation. I smiled and said, trust me, it's part of the plan. Because it was. Savannah thought I'd forgiven her. Of course she did. That's how narcissists operate. They mistake silence for surrender. She thought my acceptance was a peace treaty, that I was over it, that I was weak enough to need closure in the form of a seat at her circus. Nah. What I needed was the perfect opportunity. And this wedding, it was the stage. I didn't just show up, I studied, spent months being the perfect bridesmaid. I helped pick flowers, tasted cakes, even smiled at Mark like he didn't gut me just a year before. Every time she gave me an errand, I made sure I nailed it. She relaxed, got comfortable, let her guard down. I even started documenting everything, the shady invoices, the suspicious gaps in her wedding budget, the half-truths she fed vendors, her creative accounting with the joint business account she now shared with Mark, which, FYI, she was draining to fund her dream wedding while claiming it was being managed. It didn't take much digging to realize Savannah wasn't just a backstabber, she was a fraud. I hired a friend who worked in forensic accounting to take a discreet peek at the numbers. And what she found? Let's just say Savannah had been borrowing funds from Mark's savings account and funneling them into her side hustles and wedding registry under shell names. Mark had no clue. So I started printing receipts. Then came the real cherry on top. The bachelorette party. It was mild, just drinks, dancing, nothing wild, until Savannah, 3 shots deep, said the most Savannah thing ever. I mean, come on, if you really loved him, you would have fought harder. You basically handed him to me. I smiled and said, you're right, because that was the moment I knew. She thought she'd won, and that meant she never saw the loss coming. The day of the wedding was gorgeous. Offensively so. Blue skies, birds chirping, and enough white florals to trigger allergies in 3 counties. It was held at a vineyard just outside the city. Expensive, classy, and bought entirely with someone else's money. I slipped into the blush bridesmaid dress she picked for me. The irony of wearing a color that symbolized innocence wasn't lost on me, and smiled at myself in the mirror. Let her think I came to celebrate. let her think she won. Savannah was glowing, obviously, not because of love, but because this was her version of a coronation. She thought she'd taken my man, my house, my peace, and now she was about to take my spot as wife. Except she forgot one thing. You don't get to keep what you stole, especially not from someone who's got receipts. The ceremony started late because Savannah was busy staging her own personal photo shoot behind the winery. Mark looked uncomfortable in his tux, probably hadn't slept in weeks. Poor guy had no idea his bride was funding this wedding with his retirement fund. He took his place at the altar. The bridesmaids walked down one by one. I was last. I made sure to smile at the crowd, give the photographer my good side, and whisper "Showtime" under my breath. The music changed. Everyone stood. Savannah made her entrance. Dramatic, draped in lace, gripping her bouquet like it was a mic drop. And then, the moment came. If anyone has reason why these two should not be joined in marriage, speak now. Most people don't speak, but I did. I stepped forward slowly, calmly. Actually, I do. Gasps, real ones, not TV dramatized. People looked at me like I'd grown wings. Savannah's smile cracked. Mark blinked like he was watching his own car crash in real time. "Mark," I said, loud enough for the mic to pick up, "did you know Savannah has been using your joint savings to pay off her secret credit cards and fund this wedding through a shell LLC called Honeyvale Events?" The crowd went still, because I have the spreadsheets, the transfers, the receipts, all itemized, all time-stamped. She's been stealing from you for months. I handed the envelope to Mark's visibly trembling best man. "You might want to open that before the honeymoon." Savannah started to speak, something about how I was bitter and lying, but the damage was done. Mark stepped back like he'd been slapped. Guests started murmuring. Someone dropped a champagne glass. And me, I turned around, walked down the aisle, head high, no drama, no yelling, just justice. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't ruining the wedding, it's letting the truth do it for you. I didn't look back when I left the vineyard. I didn't have to. I could feel the chaos blooming behind me like fireworks on the 4th of July. The silence from the crowd, the gasps, the disbelief. The slow realization that the bride they came to celebrate was actually a walking crime scene in white heels. By the time I made it to my car, my phone had exploded. Texts from people I hadn't heard from in a year. "What the hell just happened? Girl, you're a legend. Did you really just end a wedding mid-vow? Can I get a copy of those receipts?" Asking for tea purposes. Even my ex-coworker Rachel, who used to ignore me in the break room, sent a message. "That was better than HBO. Are you okay?" I was. More than okay, actually. I was free. Later that night, I heard through the grapevine and screenshots that the wedding was officially called off before the catering even served the appetizers. Mark tried to keep it together, but once he read the envelope, he left. No dramatic confrontation, no big speech, just a man realizing he'd been scammed, lied to, and betrayed, and the only person who ever warned him was the woman he threw away. Savannah? She lost it. She screamed, cried, tried to spin the whole thing as a misunderstanding, said I hacked her bank account and doctored the files. Sure, babe, I photoshopped thousands of dollars in wire transfers while making Pinterest boards about your downfall. No one believed her, not even her own bridesmaids. Half of them bailed, the other half posted cryptic TikToks about karma in blush dresses. The best man? Yeah, he messaged me. I always knew something about her was off. You did what we all wish we had the guts to do. Mark ended up freezing their accounts the next day. Savannah's Instagram went silent, comments disabled, stories gone. 2 weeks later, she moved back in with her mom. A month after that, her Etsy shop closed due to personal reasons. And me, I got a message from Mark, short, direct. "I should have listened to you. I'm sorry." I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. You see, some people think revenge is fire and fury, loud, explosive. But the best revenge, it's calm, precise, unapologetic. It's knowing you were right. It's watching the lie fall apart on its own. It's walking away while the people who tried to ruin you choke on their own destruction. It had been quiet for weeks. Savannah vanished off social media, Mark deleted his accounts entirely, and life actually felt peaceful. For the first time in over a year, I wasn't constantly second-guessing myself, checking for new betrayals, or looking over my shoulder for the next emotional gut punch. I was finally healing. And then she texted me. I was at brunch when it came through. Mid-avocado toast. It buzzed once, and I glanced at my phone, already assuming it was my group chat blowing up with memes. But nope, it was Savannah. Hey, can we talk? Just that, no punctuation, no apology, no context. I stared at it, blinked twice, and put my phone back down like it was radioactive. It stayed there all day. Later that night, curiosity got the best of me. I didn't reply, just clicked on her contact to see what she was still broadcasting. Turns out, she'd reactivated her social media. A brand new Instagram. Rebranded. Glossy. Aesthetic. The bio? Healing. Growth. Starting over. Ugh, I knew what was coming. The rebrand phase of every narcissist's cycle. And sure enough, 2 days later, she tried again, this time through email. Subject line, an olive branch. The message, a full-on essay. Paragraphs of reflection, growth, and recognizing the harm we caused each other. Excuse me? We? You stole my husband and drained his bank account, Savannah. I threw a public truth bomb. We are not the same. But the kicker? The reason she reached out? She wanted me to attend her closure ceremony. Yes, apparently she was organizing a little event, something symbolic and spiritual, with sage bundles and handwritten letters to release the past, a gathering of close friends and family to move forward together in light. Oh, and she wanted me to read a forgiveness letter. Publicly. I read the email 5 times, just to confirm it wasn't a prank. You see, this is the thing with people like her. They burn your house down, then cry that the smoke hurts their eyes. They hijack your life, then ask you to play emotional support when their plan implodes. She thought this was all about closure, but I had already closed that door and changed the locks. So I replied, closure is for people who feel remorse. You want a performance. I'm not your prop. Good luck with your healing. Then I blocked her. Again. But that wasn't the last I heard of her. I thought that was it. Savannah had thrown her last Hail Mary with that absurd closure ceremony, and I was ready to let her fade into whatever delusional self-love era she was spiraling into. But nope. 2 weeks later, she showed up. At my work. She walked in like we were friends grabbing coffee, not 2 people whose entire relationship had been a slow-burning car crash. She had her hair pulled back in some sleek, fake-ass, clean girl bun, wearing a flowy linen outfit like she was about to lead a yoga retreat. Hey, she said, smiling. Can we talk? I didn't even flinch. You have 30 seconds. That's all I'm giving you. She blinked, like she hadn't expected me to hold a boundary, like she still thought she was the star of the movie and I was the side character who forgave her in the end. Then she launched into this speech, how she was in therapy now, how she and Mark were working on themselves separately, how she understood the pain she caused, and finally, what she really came for. I'm trying to get a job at this nonprofit. They check references, and I need people to vouch for my character. Could you maybe write something? Just like a paragraph? A character reference. From me. The woman she betrayed, humiliated, and gaslit. I almost laughed, but I didn't. Instead, I leaned in. Savannah, I said, low and calm, you are not the villain in your story. You're the cautionary tale in mine. She stared. Silence. Blinked. Tried to recover. I've changed. I hope so, I cut in. But change without accountability isn't growth, it's just rebranding. Then I stood up, called security, watched as she was gently escorted out of the building. I went back to my desk, opened my laptop, and smiled. Because she couldn't touch me anymore. I had survived her betrayal, her lies, her twisted fairy tale of wanting my life so badly she tried to steal it. But she didn't break me. She made me sharper, smarter, untouchable. And her? She'll always be chasing something she'll never have again. Me, trusting her. Epilogue? Mark moved to another city. Last I heard, he's in therapy and working 2 jobs to rebuild what Savannah drained from him. Savannah still posts cryptic healing journey reels. Me? I bought my own place. A little fixer-upper with a backyard and a dog I rescued named Karma. I drink my coffee slow, say no with ease, and sleep better than I ever did when they were in my life. I didn't get revenge. I got freedom. And that's the best ending anyone could write. Comment below. Could you forgive something like this? What would you have done? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more real-life revenge stories, family betrayals, and emotional storytime episodes that hit deep. Take care. See you in the next video.